as Joel was talking about earlier. And the truth is, you Americans have jacked up our accent. There's not really any other way to put it. I mean, we're Australian, but it's been messed with a little bit. And so our accents are very confused at this point, you know? And so, we were originally born in Australia, and our dad was actually a concert promoter in Australia. And on one particular tour that he brought back to Australia, we actually lost everything that we had. And the tour didn't go very well, and it just didn't really work out. And so my dad was looking for a fresh start for his career, for his family, and he got a job offer in Nashville, Tennessee. So he thought it would be a good idea to move his 6 kids and his wife, who was 6 months pregnant at the time. And that's exactly what we did. But soon after we arrived in America, my dad actually lost his job. And so on the other side of the world, no money, no friends, no family. We were sleeping on beds made out of clothes. We didn't have any way for my little sister to be born in a hospital. We didn't have a car. And it was a very, very interesting time, especially for me as a little boy. And especially for all of us, all of us as a family. And we didn't know what else to do other than just gather around as a family and just pray for these things. Just say, God, no, we don't have this stuff, and we don't know how we're going to get this stuff. We kind of need a car. And we get to see God do amazing things. We still to this day don't know who paid for my little sister to be born in a hospital. We had some folks that didn't even know us that would show up and put grocery bags full of groceries on our doorstep. A few folks found out that we didn't have any furniture in our house and brought 2 box trucks full of furniture and furnished, I kid you not, our entire house. And probably the most remarkable story was this. When we first came to America, it was in the fall. And so just like it is now, Thanksgiving's coming up. And you know, you Americans make a big deal out of Thanksgiving, let me tell you. I mean, you start planning next year's Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, it's amazing to me. But we didn't know what Thanksgiving was. We don't have Thanksgiving in Australia. We're not very thankful people. And so anyway, we heard that, you know, you're celebrating thankfulness, and that's a wonderful idea. And so a family invited us over for the day, and at the end of the night, the father of the household came to us, and he said, hey, I don't know why, but I just feel compelled to give you the keys to my brand new car. And I just want you guys to have it. I mean, so we just saw God do crazy things that didn't make any sense at all. And what I learned from that, and what I've realized as I've gotten older and I look back on that time is this: the moment that we stop giving to each other, giving to our friends, giving to our neighbors, and giving to the poor, our souls go dark. And some of you might be wondering, well, what does this have to do with anything? Well, we've been a part of an organization called Compassion International for a number of years. And Compassion International is a child sponsorship program that specializes in reversing the cycle of poverty in third world countries. It believes that by pouring into the youth of these countries, that they'll be able to raise up the next Mother Teresa's, the next Billy Grahams, the next senators, the next presidents, and they'll be able to transform these countries from the inside out. And I heard a very cool story about a little boy whose name was Richmond. And Richmond was born in Uganda, Africa, and he was actually born into a difficult situation, but the situation became much, much more difficult when his father was actually murdered at a very young age. And his mother obviously had no idea how to handle it. They were living in the slums. He was raised there. And but she found out about the local Compassion International project, and Richmond ended up getting accepted into that program. I was in that program for a number of years, ended up graduating with the equivalent of a high school diploma. He then went on and got his bachelor's degree. Then went on to the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, got his master's there. And we heard that this little boy, who is now a man, is actually studying for his doctorate right here in the United States of America. And yeah, that's a cool thing. And I'll tell you that story because of this. We don't want tonight to just be about lights and smoke and songs. We want tonight to be a night that lives on forever. And the most challenging aspect of that story is this: the person who sponsored Richmond was a 15-year-old little girl who said to herself, you know what, I babysit for enough hours every month, and I can afford to sponsor a child. And because she decided to sponsor Richmond, we're now seeing ripple effects take place all across the world, because Richmond has now gone back to Uganda. and is planting churches, is shepherding pastors, and doing absolutely remarkable things in that country, all because one little girl said, I can do that. I can play a part. And so in just a few moments, we're going to have some Compassion International volunteers come down the aisles with these things called child packs. And I wanted to read to you about this child that I have here in my hand. This is James, and James lives in Tanzania. And James is a priority child. There's a little priority emblem here. And what that means is he's actually been in the system for about 7 months, and he still hasn't got a sponsor. And we have plenty of those kids, actually a lot of those kids here tonight. But I want to read you about this story, and you can read this story in the back. And it says, James lives with his father and his mother. He is responsible for carrying water, caring for animals, and cleaning. His father is sometimes employed, and there are 9 children in the family. I mean, as you can imagine, I mean, the need for 9 kids is just insane. And for some of you here tonight, you might say to yourself, look, I love the thought of compassion, but I just can't afford it. And here's what I'd say to you. If you were to get together with just 2 friends tonight, it'd be about $12 a month, and you literally have a child's life, just like James is changed for forever. Maybe tonight you came with a small group or a youth group or some sort of group. Take up an offering once a month, and once again, you have a child's life, just like James, changed for forever. Probably the most powerful way that I've seen child sponsorship take place is through families. When I was a little boy, my parents sponsored a child, just like James, and they put the picture up on our refrigerator, just like James's picture. And every time that I would go get milk, orange juice, or I'd go get a meal, I was reminded of the fact that there were other kids in this world who didn't have that ability. But yet that I could make a difference. I could go rake leaves, I could go mow lawns, I could do something. And I think it's very, very important in this day and age where, look, the truth is here in America, we have so much. And it's very important for us to teach our kids how to give, because we really do live in a very self-seeking place. And for us to teach our kids how to give, I just think is one of the most special things that we could give to our kids. And I believe that sponsoring a child is a great way to do that. And so what you would do, if you decided you wanted to sponsor a child, what you would do is you would take this blue tab at the bottom and you would tear it off, and there's just you'd fill out the front and back side of it, and you would turn it into one of 4 locations here tonight. We have one location down here to my left that you can see for everybody on the floor, and then we have another one in the back in that corner on the floor. We also have one up the top, I think it's over to the left or right near the women's bathroom, and then we also have one in the main lobby right opposite our merchandise table. So we have 4 locations. You take that blue tab, fill it out, turn it into to my left, back here to the right, or up near the women's restrooms up in the top balcony, or out in the main lobby next to our merchandise table. We're doing something very, very special tonight, and that's this. We want to give you 2 things, which we've actually never done this quite like this before, and that is we want to give you our latest Christmas project, and we also want to give you a necklace that my brother Joel was talking about earlier today. We want to give you both of those things if you sponsor a child and pay for your first month, just as a way to say thanks. I mean, this is one of the most important things that we talk about from the platform tonight, so we want to give to you guys as you give to these kids. A lot of times people wonder to themselves, Luke, why do you take time out of your concert to talk about Compassion International? Why don't you just play more songs? And under very, very different circumstances, I was much like one of these kids when I first came to America. If it wasn't for people like yourselves who gave to me and my family, I wouldn't be sitting up here on this stage. And second of all, I say this, I will never grow tired of advocating for children who are in desperate need of food, clothing, and education, and most of all, who are in desperate need of Jesus Christ in their life, yeah? So right now, if you're interested in sponsoring a child, just raise your hand up really, really high. In the balcony as well, we have people up there. Just raise your hand up really, really high. You're not committing to anything. You're just saying, hey, I just want to read up about one of these kids. Just raise your hand up real, real high. Maybe tonight you wanted to sponsor a child with a couple of friends. Maybe tonight you came with a group, some sort of small group or youth group. You want to sponsor a child that way. Maybe tonight you came with your family, sponsor a child as a family is a really, really special way. And as I said, what you would do if you did decide you want to sponsor a child, you would take that blue tab, you'd peel it off, and you would turn it into one of 4 locations. Down to my left, and then back in the back on the floor, and then also at the top near the women's restrooms, and then down the bottom, the opposite our merch table. They've got the forms there. And so if you guys had any questions about the organization, we have plenty of packs here for kids that are priority kids. And if she really does want one of those, she can have this one. There you go. Yeah, you got that one there. We have plenty of packs here. And say if you had a heart for a different country or a different gender or whatever it might be, go talk to those folks. They're very, very friendly, lovely people who would love to talk to you about compassion and these wonderful kids. And the other thing is, one of the coolest things about Compassion, just keep your hands up really, really high if there's still a few left. One of the coolest things about Compassion International is you actually get to write letters back and forth to these kids. You get to see how your support, your prayers, your compassion for them is literally paying off. Most of these kids are very young at first, and they don't know how to write. And then as you see your support take off, they write you, they're drawing you pictures, they're doing amazing things. And it's a very cool, my child lives in El Salvador, Diego, and my wife and I got to visit him just recently. But ultimately, guys, I'm just so grateful that you're here, and we're going to break for a little bit of an intermission here. We're going to be back with much, much more music, but I believe that we have some announcements here. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you in a few moments.